Chapter 1. Abduction, wrong human, wrong skill set. I was not having a life-changing day. I was having a microwave beep 3 times and I still ignored it kind of day. It was 8:40 p.m. I was in my tiny apartment, staring at my laptop like it had personally betrayed me, and debating whether reheated noodles counted as self-care. They did. I decided they did. I had just taken the first bite, burning my tongue, obviously, when the lights flickered. Now, in horror movies, this is where people panic. I did not panic. I sighed. Great power cut. Fantastic. Then the ceiling opened. Like some invisible zipper just unzipped reality. I stared up at it, noodles halfway to my mouth. I am too tired for this, I said. A beam of blue light shot down and hit me directly in the face. And that was when I panicked. Wait. Hold on, time out. The noodles fell. I did not. Because suddenly, I was no longer touching the ground. Oh no, I whispered, rising slowly into the air. This is not happening. I have work tomorrow. The last thing I saw was my sad little plate of noodles getting smaller as I floated upward into what I can only describe as aggressively glowing nonsense. Then everything went white. When I woke up, I was lying on a cold, metallic floor, which, for the record, is already a terrible start. I opened one eye, closed it, opened both eyes. Okay, either I'm dead, or I've been kidnapped. Or both. Love that. I sat up. Bad decision. Immediate dizziness. Regret. Once the world stopped spinning, I finally looked around. The room was not a room. It was circular. Glowing panels everywhere. Symbols I did not recognize. A faint humming sound like the place itself was alive and judging me. And then I noticed them. Tall. Very tall. Humanoid. Standing in a semicircle like I was about to be evaluated for a group project I didn't sign up for. One of them stepped forward. Sleek uniform. Sharp posture. Glowing eyes. Definitely the leader. Definitely the problem. Subject is conscious, it said. His voice was calm. Too calm. I pointed at myself. Hi. Yes. Hello. Big fan of not being here. No reaction. Tough crowd. Another one. Slightly smaller, holding what looked like a floating tablet. Leaned in closer to me. Initiate assessment, it said. Assessment for what? Because I'd like to formally withdraw my application, I said. The tall one ignored me. Of course it did. We have selected you for your species' expertise in romantic bonding. It said. I'm sorry, for what? I said. Romantic bonding. I stared at them. They stared at me. This was the worst staring contest of my life. I think you have the wrong human, I said. The tablet one tilted its head. Clarify. I have never been in a relationship. I don't text people back properly. I once avoided eye contact with a cashier for 3 full minutes. The room went quiet. I nodded, feeling very reasonable. So if you could just put me back where you found me, that would be fascinating. The tablet one interrupted. I froze. That did not sound like the right response. The tall one stepped closer. Closer. Too close. An unpaired adult specimen, it said. Untested variables. No prior bonding bias. I stared at it. You abducted me? I said slowly. Because I am bad at love. Yes. Wow. I ran a hand over my face. This is the worst performance review I've ever received. The tablet one was already taking notes. Pure specimen, it muttered. Please stop calling me that, I said immediately. No prior romantic entanglements, it continued. This increases observational value. Or, I said, raising a finger. Hear me out. This means I have no idea what I'm doing. The tall one, Captain Problem, studied me for a long moment. You will assist Commander Valixthar, it said. Oh good, I said. A name. That makes this less terrifying. His romantic partnership has failed. Relatable, I muttered. You will provide guidance. I laughed. I actually laughed. Then I realized no one else was laughing. You're serious? Yes. I pointed at myself again. I've been single since birth. The tablet one lit up like I just said something groundbreaking. Remarkable, a pure specimen. It said, I swear. You will begin immediately. The tall one cut in. Begin what? I don't even know this guy. I snapped. You will learn. I stared at them. They stared at me. I took a deep breath. Okay, Dylan. Think. You are on an alien spaceship. You have been abducted. You are apparently a romance expert. You are not leaving anytime soon. There is only one logical course of action. I straightened up slightly, put on my best fake confidence, and said very clearly, all right, first piece of advice. They leaned in, hooked. I pointed at the nearest one. You're all standing way too close. This is not helping the romance. They immediately stepped back. I exhaled. Okay, good start. I had no idea what I was doing, but apparently, neither did they. Chapter 2. The Breakup Debrief. If you've ever wondered what it feels like to be held hostage by aliens and then immediately assigned a job you are wildly unqualified for, good news. I am now your field researcher. My official role, as of approximately 10 minutes ago, is human romance expert. My actual qualifications include 0 relationships, 1 situationship that died in 3 days, and the emotional range of someone who says laugh out loud instead of expressing feelings. So naturally, they took me to meet the problem. Commander Valix Thar, the reason I am here, the man, the myth, the walking red flag in a military uniform. The doors slid open with dramatic timing. Of course they did. Everything here has dramatic timing. Even the lighting feels judgmental. I stepped inside what I can only describe as a command center. Big space, glowing panels, star maps floating in the air. Very we conquer galaxies before breakfast vibes. And in the center of it, him. Tall, straight posture, hands behind his back like he was born in a leadership position. Dark armor, sharp features, glowing eyes that immediately locked onto me. Oh, this is worse than I thought. This man did not look like someone who needed dating advice. He looked like someone who declared wars as a hobby. Commander Valix Thar, the human has arrived. One of the aliens announced. I raised a hand. Hi. Yes, that's me. The human. Big fan of not being here. Valix did not react. Not even a blink. He just studied me like I was a suspicious document. You are the specialist, he said. It was not a question. It was a statement. A very incorrect statement. Define specialist, I said immediately. You have been selected for your expertise in human romantic bonding. I closed my eyes briefly. Okay. I just want to make it very clear that there has been a misunderstanding at a galactic level. Valix tilted his head slightly. You deny your qualifications? I absolutely deny my qualifications. I reject them. I revoke them. I would like to return them for a full refund, I said. Valix turned slightly, gesturing toward a floating display. Then observe and advise, he said. The screen flickered to life. A recording. Of course it was a recording. Because why have emotions when you can have documentation? The image showed Valix standing across from. Okay, wow. Even through a hologram you could tell this person was important. Composed. Elegant. The kind of presence that makes you sit up straighter without knowing why. This had to be Lithra. And then, Valix started speaking. I have conducted a full evaluation of our partnership. Your continued presence is no longer strategically efficient. I turned slowly to look at him. The recording continued. I am terminating this arrangement effective immediately. Silence. Lithra just looked at him. Not shocked. Not emotional. Just done. The recording ended. The room was quiet. I blinked. Once. Twice. Then I looked at Valix. You broke up with him like a spreadsheet. Valix frowned slightly. I communicated clearly and efficiently. You declared a relationship bankruptcy. I snapped. It was a logical conclusion. Relationships are not spreadsheets. They require evaluation. They require feelings. Valix crossed his arms. Feelings are unreliable variables. I stared at him. This man. This entire man. You told him his existence was strategically inefficient. Do you hear yourself? I asked. Yes. And you don't see the problem. No. I turned away, walked 3 steps, turned back. Okay. All right. That's fine. We can work with this. Explain. You have the emotional awareness of a brick. I said, pointing at him. A brick. Yes. A construction material. Very sturdy. 0 communication skills. Valix considered this. I am effective in leadership. I'm sure you are in war, not in love. I said, that distinction is irrelevant. It is extremely relevant. I ran a hand through my hair. Okay, Dylan, breathe. You are not going to survive this if you lose your mind on day 1. Fix the situation. Or at least pretend to. I turned back to him. All right, let's start simple. I said, I am listening. That's already a good sign. I muttered. He ignored that. Of course he did. When you broke up with him, did you consider his feelings? I asked. I considered the outcome. No, I didn't ask about the outcome. I asked about his feelings. I said. Clarify, he asked. I stared at him. You don't know what that means. I require a more precise definition. Covered my face. This was my life now. Okay, I said, dropping my hands. Feelings are. I stopped. How do you explain feelings to someone who thinks love is a military operation? They're the part where people care about each other. I said finally. I accounted for mutual benefit. That is not the same thing. It is sufficient. It is not sufficient. I took a deep breath. You didn't break up with him. You dismissed him. I said slowly. Valix went still. That got his attention. Distinction? One is emotional, the other is whatever that was. I said. Silence stretched between us. For a second, just a second, I thought I saw something shift in his expression. Small. Barely there. Then the method was incorrect, he said. I blinked. Oh, we're getting somewhere. Yes, it was very incorrect. I said immediately. Valix nodded once. Then I will correct it. No, wait. I will initiate a revised approach. Wait. He turned to the others. Prepare communication protocol. Oh no. Schedule formal apology. Oh no. With full transparency and supporting data. I grabbed my head. You're doing it again. Valix looked back at me. I am following your guidance. I haven't given you any yet. You identified the error. That doesn't mean you launch a sequel. He straightened. I will improve. I stared at him, at his completely serious face, at the absolute confidence of a man who had just emotionally nuked a relationship and was preparing round 2. And that's when I realized something important. Something deeply concerning. He wasn't joking. He wasn't confused. He wasn't even resistant. He was trying. Terribly, horribly, catastrophically, trying. I exhaled slowly. Okay, new rule. No speeches. No reports. No strategy. I said. Define alternative. Pointed at him. You talk like a normal person. Define normal. I closed my eyes. Yeah. This was going to take a while. Chapter 3. First love plan. Immediate disaster. I made a mistake. Not a small mistake. Not a forgot to reply to a text mistake. A galactic level mistake. I gave advice. Actual real sincere advice. And Commander Valix took it seriously. Okay. Let's simplify this before you ruin another relationship. I said, pacing in what I now understood was a spaceship hallway. I am prepared, Valix said. Of course he was. He stood there like he was about to brief a war council instead of apologize to his ex. I stopped pacing and pointed at him. No strategy. No reports. No efficiency talk. I understand. You say you're sorry. I will express regret. Like a person. I am a person. Debatable. Then you explain how you feel. I muttered. I will present my emotional status. No, you will talk normally. No big performance, I said. Valix nodded once. I will proceed. I squinted at him. You're not going to make this weird, right? I will follow your guidance precisely. That should have scared me more. I should have trusted my instincts. I really should have. Because the moment the doors opened to the apology meeting, I knew I had failed. Spectacularly. The room was enormous. Like unnecessarily enormous. Circular. Polished. Glowing walls. The kind of place where important alien politics probably happened. And in the center, a raised platform. A literal platform. I stopped walking. This is the designated communication chamber. One of the crew members said. Why is there a stage? I demanded. For visibility. We're not hosting a concert. Too late. So late. Because then I saw the audience. Rows of aliens. Sitting. Watching. I turned slowly to Valix. Why are there witnesses? To ensure accuracy, he said calmly. To ensure. This is an apology, not a court trial. Emotional exchanges benefit from observation. No, they benefit from privacy. Noted for future attempts. Future. I grabbed my head. Oh my God. And then, he walked in. Lithra. Even in person, he was exactly what I expected. Elegant. Composed. The kind of person who looked like they had already processed the situation 3 steps ahead of everyone else. His gaze flicked across the room. The stage. The audience. Then landed on Valix. A beat. You summoned me, he said. Calm. Too calm. I leaned toward Valix. Last chance, make this normal. I whispered. I will proceed, he said. That was not reassuring. At all. He stepped forward. Onto the platform. Of course he did. A holographic screen immediately lit up behind him. I made a noise. A very small, very defeated noise. No! Valix stood straight, hands behind his back. Lithra Voss, he began. I have initiated a reassessment of our prior relational dissolution. I slapped a hand over my face. We are starting with a title, I whispered. We are starting with a title. The hologram shifted. A chart appeared. A chart. You made a presentation? I hissed. This is a visual aid, Valix said without looking at me. I told you not to make it a thing. This increases clarity. This increases my suffering. Lithra watched the screen. Then Valix. Then me. I pointed at him helplessly. I tried. I mouthed. He almost looked amused. That somehow made it worse. Valix continued. I have identified critical errors in my prior communication strategy. Stop saying strategy, I whispered violently. He ignored me. Specifically, a failure to account for emotional variables. The chart updated. I swear I saw bullet points. Bullet points. In response, I am issuing a formal apology. Finally something normal. I regret the inefficiency of my previous phrasing. I choked. I'm dying. I'm actually dying right now. Lithra tilted his head slightly. And what are you apologizing for? He asked. Valix stood still. Processing. Calculating. I am apologizing for not optimizing my communication to align with your emotional expectations. He said. Silence. Heavy. Painful. I slowly dragged my hand down my face. You were so close. You were so close. Lithra exhaled softly. Not angry. Not hurt. Just done. This isn't you, he said. Valix frowned. This is an improved version of my prior approach. No, this is a constructed version, he said. Oof. Direct hit. I winced. He stepped forward slightly. You've learned the structure but not the meaning, he said. Valix didn't respond. For once, he just stood there. And for a second, just a second, he looked uncertain. Lithra gave a small nod. I appreciate the attempt, but this changes nothing, he said. And that was it. He turned and left, just like that. No explosion, no argument, just a clean, precise exit. Honestly, respect. Silence filled the room. The hologram flickered off. Valix remained on the platform, still thinking. Behind us, one of the crew members spoke. The human method has failed. I snapped. I actually snapped. IT did not fail. You just completely butchered it. I yelled, spinning around. They all looked at me, blank, unblinking. I pointed at Valix. He turned an apology into a business meeting. It was structured. IT was a PowerPoint. Valix stepped down from the platform. I followed the provided instructions. No, you followed them like a robot trying to pass a human exam. I implemented honesty. You implemented a presentation. Silence. He looked at me, directly. Then the execution was flawed. I stared at him, processing. He wasn't defensive. He wasn't dismissive. He was analyzing. Again. But this time, slightly different. Yeah, it was. I said finally. What is the correct method? He asked. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again, and realized I had no idea, because apparently, just be honest, was not enough when your definition of honesty came with charts. Okay, new plan, I said. I am listening. No witnesses. Noted. No holograms. Noted. No titles. No reports. No bullet points. Define bullet points. I stared at him. You know what? We'll get there. He nodded once. Completely serious. Completely committed. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't going to be a quick fix. This wasn't even going to be a normal fix. This was going to be process. A long, painful, deeply confusing process. I ran a hand through my hair. I need a raise, I muttered. Define raise, Valix said immediately. I looked at him, very slowly. We'll also get there. God help me. Chapter 4. Studying humans. Scientifically wrong. I made another mistake. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. I allowed them to learn. And that right there was my downfall. Maybe you should observe human relationships first, I said in what I thought was a very reasonable tone. Valix nodded. The crew nodded. Everyone nodded. That should have been my first warning. Because whenever a group of aliens agrees with me that quickly, it means something has gone horribly wrong. 24 hours later, I was standing in what they called the behavioral analysis chamber, which is a very fancy way of saying they built a mini theater. For research, I walked in, stopped, looked around. Why are there snacks? Dr. Sirix, resident mad scientist, looked delighted. To replicate authentic human viewing conditions. There are glowing cubes, those are not snacks, I said. They are nutritionally optimized. I miss chips, I whispered. Valix stood near the front, arms crossed, watching a massive screen. Focused, serious, like he was about to decode the secrets of the universe. Which, to be fair, he kind of was. Just the worst possible version of it. The screen flickered, and then a human movie started playing. Romantic, dramatic, extremely unrealistic. Within 5 minutes, I knew we were in danger. Within 10 minutes, I knew we were doomed. Scene: male lead running through the rain. Dramatic music. He's shouting, confessing, crying. I rubbed my face. Please don't learn from this. Observation, Sirix said, already taking notes. The scene escalated. He grabbed the heroine's hand. Big speech. Huge emotions. Kissing. I heard Zor, the security officer, speak up. This is clearly a dominance display. No, it is not a dominance display, I said immediately. The male asserts emotional control through volume and persistence. That is not. No, that's not what's happening. Sirix scribbled faster. Increased vocal intensity correlates with successful bonding. I hate everything, I said. Valix didn't speak. He just watched, absorbing, analyzing, learning all the wrong things. Movie 2. Even worse. Grand gestures, flowers, declarations. Someone climbed a building. A building. Absolutely not, I said. We are not doing that. No climbing structures. No public yelling. No. Conclusion, Cyrix said. I froze. Human romantic success is achieved through dramatic, high-visibility actions. I pointed at the screen. That is fiction. It is repeated across multiple sources. Because it's entertainment. Therefore, effective strategy requires escalation. Zor added. I turned slowly to Valix. You're not going to do anything with this, right? He looked at me. Calm. Certain. I have identified the pattern. I backed up. No. Dramatic gestures produce results. No. I will implement this method. Valix, no. Too late. Again. Always too late. 3 hours later I was dragged onto the command deck. Why am I here? I said flatly. To observe, Valix replied. I don't want to observe. You provided the strategy. I provided a warning. The main screen lit up. Projection of a nearby planet. Ships. Diplomatic vessels. Oh, this is bad. This is a neutral zone, one of the crew members explained. Great, love neutrality. Big fan. Let's not ruin it, I said. Valix stepped forward. Command presence activated. I will initiate the gesture. What gesture? I demanded. No one answered. That was worse. Much worse. The ship hummed. Power building. Energy gathering. I felt it in my bones. This is too much power for romance. Romance should not require this much power, I said. Visual amplification, Cyrix said. Stop amplifying. The ship fired. Not a weapon. Worse, a massive burst of light exploded into space. Color, shapes, symbols. It spread across the sky like a cosmic fireworks show on steroids. I stared, mouth open. Oh my God! Kept going. Expanding. Brighter. Bigger. Visible from every ship in the vicinity. Including the diplomatic fleet. The very important diplomatic fleet. Alarms started blaring. Oh good. That's never a bad sign, I said. Unidentified display detected. A voice announced. Multiple vessels reacting. Yeah, I bet they are. You just screamed, look at me in space, I said. Valix watched the display. Focused. Hopeful. This should be effective. Effective at starting a war. I snapped. Another alarm. Defensive systems activating on nearby ships. Oh my God, they think it's an attack. Valix turned slightly. That is not the intended interpretation. Well, that's the interpretation you got. More lights. More ships moving. Weapons charging. I grabbed my head. I cannot believe I'm going to die because of a romantic gesture. Adjusting output, someone said. No, stop adjusting. Stop everything. The display flickered, shifted, then cut off. Silence. Heavy, terrible silence. I slowly lowered my hands. Did we just almost start a war? Yes, someone said. I turned to Valix. Very slowly, very carefully. This is why we do not learn romance from movies, I said, pointing at the empty space where the display had been. Valix looked at me, still calm, still thinking. The scale may have been excessive. The scale was a war crime. I will reduce intensity. No more intensity. No more gestures. No more experiments. I snapped. Then what is the correct approach? I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out, because at this point, I was out of answers. Completely. I exhaled. Long. Slow. We need to start smaller, I said finally. How small? I looked at him, dead serious. Like talking, quietly, in a room, with no weapons. He considered that, nodded once. Understood. I did not believe him, not even a little. And honestly, that was probably the smartest thought I'd had all day. Chapter 5. Fake dating plan. At this point, I would like to formally state, everything that happens to me is my own fault. Every single thing. Because I had one job. One. Do not give them ideas. And what did I do? I gave them an idea. Okay, I said, pacing again because apparently that's my default coping mechanism now. Clearly. Throwing you directly back into a relationship is a disaster. Valix stood across from me, calm as ever. I am capable of improvement. You almost started a war. It was a miscalculation. It was a romantic missile. I snapped. Noted. I stopped pacing and pointed at him. You need practice. I have already attempted implementation and failed spectacularly, so we're scaling down. I said. How? I hesitated. Just for a second. A tiny, harmless second. Big mistake. You need to learn basic interaction first, normal conversations. Low stakes. No pressure. I said. I understand. Good. So instead of trying to fix your relationship with your ex, you practice with someone else. I said. That is acceptable. I nodded. Yes, exactly. See? Progress. Assignment will be made. Assignment. Valix turned slightly. To ensure controlled conditions. My stomach dropped. No, I said immediately. No, we're not assigning people, that's not how. Optimal candidate identified. I froze. Valix looked back at me. Direct eye contact. Completely serious. You. There it was. The moment my life truly fell apart. I pointed at myself. Me. You will serve as the practice partner. I laughed, because obviously that was a joke. It had to be. No, I will not. I said. It is logical. It is not logical. You possess the required knowledge. I possess theoretical panic, not knowledge. You will provide immediate feedback. I will provide immediate escape. Decision confirmed. I stared at him. You don't even know how consent works. I said. You suggested the method. I did not suggest me. Silence. The worst kind of silence. Because I could feel it. The crew. Watching. Processing. Agreeing. Dr. Sirix was already typing. Controlled human-to-human interaction simulation, excellent variables. They muttered. I am not a variable. I snapped. Zor nodded. This is efficient. I hate all of you. Valix stepped closer. Too close. Always too close. You will assist. I took a step back. No. Absolutely not. I am not fake dating an alien war captain. That is not in my skill set. It will be beneficial. For who? For me. Exactly. And you, he added. I blinked. That threw me off for half a second. Don't include me in this. I didn't sign up for emotional character development. Your participation is required. I refuse. You are already here. That's not how that works. Silence. Again. Then. Simulation will begin immediately. What? No, wait. Too late. Of course. Always too late. I was escorted to a different room. Smaller. Less terrifying. Which somehow made it worse. This is worse, I said. It is a controlled environment, Sirix explained. There are chairs. Why are there chairs? For sitting. I know what chairs are. Valix entered behind me. The door closed. Locked. Oh good. Love that. I turned to him slowly. Okay. Let's set some rules before this becomes a disaster. I am listening. No military language. Noted. No analyzing me like I'm a problem to solve. Define limit. Pointed at him. That right there. Stop that. Noted. And most importantly, this is fake. He nodded once. It is a simulation. Exactly. So don't take it seriously. I will take it appropriately. That is not reassuring. We stood there, facing each other. Silence. Heavy. Awkward. Painful. Cleared my throat. Okay. Step 1. Normal conversation. Understood. So say something. He looked at me. Thinking. Calculating. Processing. This took too long. This is already bad. I muttered. Finally. Hello, Valix said. I blinked. Hello. Hello, he repeated. Okay, you can stop now. We're not stuck in a greeting loop. Clarify next step. Talk, just talk. About what? Anything. Silence. Then, I have reviewed your dietary patterns, he said. I froze. Excuse me. You consume nutritionally inefficient substances. I miss noodles, I said quietly. That can be arranged. That's not the point. He adjusted slightly. I will attempt a different approach. Please do. You appear tired. I stared at him. I am always tired. I have observed this. Congratulations. It may indicate chronic stress. It may indicate I got abducted by aliens. That is also a factor. I huffed, despite myself. Okay. That was almost normal. He nodded. I am improving. Don't get ahead of yourself. Silence again. But this time, less painful. Slightly, uncomfortably, noticeably. And that's when I realized something deeply concerning. This wasn't completely terrible. Which meant, this was going to continue. Pointed at him. This is still fake. It is a simulation. Good. You are an acceptable partner for practice, he added. I choked. I am what? You respond predictably. I am not predictable. You are currently agitated. That's because I'm fake dating you. Noted. I dragged my hands down my face. This was my life now. This exact situation. I need to lie down, I muttered. Rest is beneficial. I'm not asking for a health report. He nodded anyway. Of course he did. And just like that, I became the practice partner in a fake relationship with an alien war captain who was taking it completely seriously. Yeah. This was going to go very, very badly. Chapter 6. Unexpected progress. Fake dating, as it turns out, is a scam. No one tells you that. People always say things like, oh, it's just pretend. Or, there are no real feelings involved. Those people are liars. Or worse, they've never had to fake date an alien war captain who treats emotional development like a classified mission. It had been, I don't know, a few days? Time works differently when you're trapped in space and your only job is teaching someone how not to emotionally terrorize people. At first, it was exactly as bad as I expected. Valix analyzing everything I said like I was a textbook. Example, do humans enjoy beverages? Valix, I am begging you to stop talking like that. I am refining my approach. You sound like you're interrogating tea. But then, things started getting weird. Not bad weird, just different weird. We were sitting in one of the smaller observation rooms, which now, apparently, counted as our usual place. I hate that I have a usual place on a spaceship. I was slouched in a chair, staring out at space like I was in a dramatic music video. I miss carbs, I said. Valix, standing beside me, nodded. I have noted your repeated references to noodles. Please don't say it like it's a psychological condition. It appears to be a significant preference. It's called having taste. I have arranged something. That sentence has never ended well for me. He stepped forward and placed something on the table. What is that? I asked. A nutritional approximation. No. It is based on your descriptions. No. It should resemble instant noodles. I froze. You tried to make noodles. I followed the available data. I stared at the container, then at him, then back at the container. This could kill me. It is safe for human consumption. That is not comforting. Probably. He tilted his head slightly. Your reaction suggests uncertainty. My reaction suggests self-preservation. You do not have to consume it. I blinked. That was new. Usually he'd insist. Analyze. Push. But now, he just stepped back slightly, giving me space. I stared at him. Okay. If I die, this is on you, I said, reaching for the container. Noted. I opened it. Sniffed. This actually smells right. I aimed for accuracy. I took a bite. This is not terrible. Valix straightened slightly. Clarify. It's not exactly noodles, but it's close enough that I'm not offended. I said, I will refine the formula. Please don't say formula when talking about food. Noted. I took another bite, and for a second, just a second, felt normal, like I wasn't on a spaceship, Like I wasn't fake dating an alien. Like this was just a moment. I hated that. Later, we were walking through one of the quieter corridors. No crew, no observers, just us, which again felt illegal. This is part of the simulation, Valix said. You don't have to keep calling it that, I muttered. It provides context. It provides stress. You are less agitated today. I glanced at him. Wow, you noticed. I have been observing patterns. Please stop saying observing. Noted. You appear less guarded. I stopped walking. What? He stopped too, facing me. You exhibit fewer defensive behaviors. I stared at him. You just said that like you're writing a report. I am attempting to communicate observations. Okay, but maybe don't make me sound like a lab experiment. You seem more comfortable. That was better. Still weird, but better. I looked away. Maybe, I said. You also laugh more. I do not. You do. I absolutely do not. You laughed 3 times during the last interaction. That was not laughter, that was suffering. It appeared genuine. I crossed my arms. You're reading too much into it. I am learning to interpret. I huffed. You're getting better at this. I am improving. He said it simply, and for the first time, it didn't sound mechanical. It sounded real. We stopped near a large viewing window, stars stretching endlessly outside. I leaned against the glass. You know, this is still fake. I said, it is a simulation, right? But you're trying. Yes. Why? I asked. He looked at me, direct, steady. Because it matters. What? This process, the outcome. He said, that's not what I meant. You matter. Oh no. Nope. Absolutely not. I straightened immediately. Okay. That's enough emotional progress for today. We're shutting that down. I said. He tilted his head. Your reaction suggests discomfort. My reaction suggests we are not doing this right now. Noted. I turned away. Fast. Too fast. Because something about that, about the way he said it, wasn't practiced, wasn't calculated, wasn't part of the simulation. It was just honest. And that was a problem. A big one. Because somewhere between the awkward conversations, the terrible experiments, and the almost edible noodles, Commander Valix there wasn't just learning how to love. He was actually trying. And worse, I was starting to notice. Chapter 7, The X Returns. There are moments in life where you feel a deep, instinctive sense of dread. Not panic, not fear, just a quiet, creeping realization that something is about to go very, very wrong. That moment was when the alarms didn't go off. Why is everything so calm? I said. No one answered, which was suspicious, highly suspicious, because on this ship, something is always beeping, glowing, or threatening to escalate into an intergalactic incident. But today, silence, peaceful, organized. I hated it. What's happening? I asked, narrowing my eyes at the nearest crew member. Diplomatic engagement, they replied. With who? I asked, already regretting it. Lithera Voss has arrived. Of course he was here. Of course he was back. Because clearly, my life had not been stressful enough. I found Valix exactly where I expected him to be, standing in the command area, calm, composed, like he wasn't about to face the person he had emotionally spreadsheet out of his life. What are you planning? I asked. I will engage in normal communication. That sentence has never meant anything good. It aligns with your guidance. That somehow makes it worse. The doors opened, and there he was, Lithera Voss, still elegant, still composed, still looking like he had already read the script of this entire situation and decided he was mildly entertained. His gaze moved across the room, then landed on Valix. You requested this meeting, he said, calm, measured, exactly the same as before, except Valix didn't step onto a platform. He didn't activate a hologram. He didn't summon an audience. He just stood there. Yes, he said. Oh, this was new. Lithra seemed to notice it too. His head tilted slightly. Proceed, he said. I wish to speak with you, he said. I choked. Very quietly. Okay, Lithra replied. And clarify previous actions. No strategic inefficiency. No termination of arrangement. Just words. Normal words. You've already clarified them. I did so incorrectly. Did he just admit he was wrong? Voluntarily? Without a presentation? Lithra's expression shifted slightly. Not much, but enough. Go on, he said. Valix straightened, but not rigidly, not like before. Just present. I did not consider your feelings. I slapped a hand over my mouth. He said it. He actually said it. No charts. No graphs. No emotional bullet points. Just a sentence. Lithra studied him closely. You didn't, he agreed. I understand that now. And, he prompted. I regret that. I made a noise. A small, strangled noise. Because what is happening? Who is this man? Lithra's gaze flicked, just briefly, toward me. And I swear, there was the faintest hint of amusement there. Like he knew. I pointed at myself silently. Me, I mouthed. This is me. He almost smiled. I was not okay. Back to the conversation. Lithra stepped closer. Not fully closing the distance. But enough. You've changed, he said. Valix didn't deny it. Yes. How? Valix glanced at me, briefly, then back at him. I received guidance. Okay, good. We're keeping me out of this. Excellent. Healthy. Safe. Lithra's gaze sharpened slightly. Interesting, he murmured. I pointed at the situation. Wait. No one acknowledged me. Again. Rude. Valix stood there. Calm. Different. Better. And Lithra was looking at him like he was seeing something new. Something worth reconsidering. I see, he said. This is getting out of control. I muttered. Because something had shifted. Not just in Valix. Not just in the situation. But in the way Lithra was looking at him. At us. Like he had just figured out the real story. And I did not like where that story was going. At all. Chapter 8. The perfect plan. I made a mature decision. A responsible decision. A completely selfless, emotionally stable decision. I stayed out of it. Do not interfere, I told myself. I even pointed at my reflection in one of the shiny metal walls. Stay. My reflection looked unconvinced. Rude. Because here's the situation. Valix had decided, on his own, without turning it into a military operation, to ask Lithra for a second chance. Not a presentation. Not a strategy. An actual real attempt. And me? I was not involved. Which, logically, should have been a relief. Emotionally, it felt like someone had unplugged something important and I didn't know where to reconnect it. So naturally, I ended up in the surveillance room. I am not spying, I said. Dr. Sirix didn't even look up. You are observing. I am casually observing. You accessed restricted monitoring systems. I was given access. You asked for access. I asked very convincingly. You are spying, Sirix concluded. I am supporting from a distance, I corrected. The screen lit up, and there they were, Valix and Lithra, alone, in a quiet room. No audience, no chaos, no me. I leaned forward. Immediately. Okay. Let's see if he messes this up, I muttered. Valix stood there. Not rigid. Not rehearsed. Just there. I requested this meeting, he said. Simple. Lithra nodded. I assumed. I regret how I ended things. Oh wow. Straight to the point. No weird phrasing. No emotional spreadsheets. Just regret. Lithra studied him closely. That's new, he said. I am adjusting. Not perfect, but better. So much better. I leaned closer to the screen. This is suspiciously functional, I whispered. Your absence was noticeable. That one hit different. Lithra's expression shifted. Slightly. You're choosing your words carefully, he said. I am attempting to be accurate. And honest. Yes. So, what do you want? Lithra said. There it was. The question. The dangerous one. I leaned even closer. If he says something stupid, I'm turning this off, I muttered. Valix held his gaze. I would like to attempt this again. A second chance, he clarified. Lithra didn't respond immediately. He just watched him, carefully, like he was measuring something, weighing it. You think that will work, he said finally. I do not know, Valix replied. I am not certain, but I am willing to try, he continued. That was new. No confidence. No guarantees. Just effort. Lithra exhaled softly. You've changed. Yes. And you think that's enough. I think it is different. All right. I sat up straight. Wait. All right, we can try. Lithra repeated. The scene shifted. Different room. Less formal. More personal. They were sitting now. Closer. Talking. Actually talking. And I was losing my mind. I am fine, I said. You are not fine, Syrinx replied. I am completely fine. You are gripping the console. I looked down. My hands were indeed gripping the console. This is for balance, I said. In a stationary room. Yes. On screen, Lithra smiled. Not much, but enough. Valix said something quieter this time. I couldn't hear it clearly. They both leaned in slightly. Close. Comfortable. I looked away. Immediately. Nope. I don't need to see that, I said. You are still watching, Syrinx pointed out. I am not emotionally invested, I snapped. You have not blinked in 30 seconds. That is a medical condition. But then, something shifted. Subtle. Small. Easy to miss. Unless you were me. Which, unfortunately, I was. Lithra leaned forward again. Said something. Light. Casual. Familiar. The kind of tone you use with someone you already understand. Valix nodded. Responded. Correctly. But there was a delay. Half a second. Barely there. But wrong. I leaned closer. Wait. Syrinx didn't respond. Because even they noticed it. Lithra laughed softly. Valix smiled. But it didn't reach his eyes. I froze. There it was again. That tiny disconnect. Like everything looked right, but felt slightly off. Lithra reached out. Lightly. Just a small touch. Familiar. Natural. Expected. Valix didn't pull away. But he didn't lean into it either. Just allowed it. I stared at the screen. That's not right. You detect inconsistency, Syrinx said. I detect something very weird. The conversation kept going. Smooth. Functional. Technically successful. And yet, Valix's posture shifted. Subtle. Closed off. Not rigid. Just not relaxed. Not the way he was with me. Oh no. I need to test a hypothesis, Syrinx muttered. I don't like where this is going, I said. On screen, Lithra said something softer this time. More personal. More direct. Valix paused. Longer than before. Then answered. Correctly. Again. But still. That gap. That space. That missing piece. He's doing everything right, I said slowly. Yes. But it feels wrong. Yes. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Too clear. Valix leaned back slightly. A small movement, but deliberate, creating distance. I stared at it, then leaned back in my chair. Oh, there it was. The realization. Not mine. His. I could see it happening in real time. In the way his expression shifted. In the way his responses slowed. In the way he stopped trying to match something that no longer fit. Lithra noticed it too. Of course he did. You're hesitating, he said. Valix didn't deny it. Yes. And earlier you weren't. This feels different, Valix said. I held my breath. Lithra watched him carefully. How? And Valix, for once, didn't answer immediately. because he didn't have a prepared response, didn't have a learned behavior, didn't have guidance, just himself. I do not feel as clear, he said. Silence. And that was it. That was the moment. I leaned back slowly, heart doing something very stupid. Oh, not jealousy, not exactly. Something else, something worse. Hope. On screen, Lithra exhaled softly, not angry, not surprised, just understanding. I see, he said. Of course he did. He always did. The conversation didn't end badly, didn't explode, didn't collapse. It just shifted. Quietly, I stood up, slowly, hands still slightly clenched. I'm leaving, I said. You have reached a conclusion, Cyrix noted. Yeah, I said. I have. I walked toward the door, stopped, just for a second. He's not comfortable, I muttered. No, he's trying. Yes, but it's not right. No. Silence. Then, interesting, Cyrix added. I hate that word, I said, and walked out, because I didn't need to watch the rest. I already knew. Something had changed. And this time, it wasn't because of a bad plan. It was because, for the first time, Valix could feel the difference, and he couldn't ignore it anymore. Chapter 9. Realization. Oh no moment. There are two types of conversations I avoid. 1. Conversations that involve my feelings. 2. Conversations that involve Valix asking me to clarify something. Unfortunately, this was both. You are difficult to locate, Valix said. I didn't look up. I'm hiding. That is inefficient. That is intentional. He stepped closer. Of course he did. Always closer. I require clarification, he said. There it was. The sentence. The beginning of my downfall. I am off duty, I replied immediately. You do not have designated duty hours. I am inventing them. Denied. I sighed. Loudly. Dramatically. For someone who runs an entire warship, you have zero respect for personal space. I muttered. I am respecting your current position, he said. You are standing in it. I finally looked up. Big mistake. Because he had that look again. Not the calculating one. Not the I am about to ruin someone's life strategically one. The other one. The one I didn't understand. The one that made things complicated. What? Clarify your clarification, I said. I conducted a test. You what? With Lithra. Oh, right. That situation I was absolutely not thinking about. At all. Ever. I am not involved in that, I said quickly. You are. No. Yes. I reject that. It remains accurate. I turned away. Fast. Too fast. Look, if this is about your date going well, congratulations, you did it. You fixed it. Mission accomplished. Gold star. I am emotionally unavailable for follow-up discussions. It did not go well. I paused. Slowly turned back. What? It was functional. I narrowed my eyes. That sounds like your version of bad. It was not incorrect, but it was not comfortable, he said. Oh, that again. That word. Comfortable. I didn't like how my chest reacted to that. So, I said, trying to sound normal. Not everything has to feel amazing immediately. That's kind of how relationships. It did not feel like it did with you. I stopped. Completely. What? Silence. Then, I required comparison, he continued. I stared at him. You what? I needed to confirm the variable. I am not a variable. You are a consistent factor. That is worse. He stepped closer. Again. Always with the stepping closer. I attempted to reestablish prior connection. It was ineffective. He said. That's okay. That's normal. My responses were correct, but not genuine. He added. Okay. I was replicating behavior. Yeah, that's kind of your thing. But it did not align with my current state. My current state aligns with you. My brain stopped. Just fully shut down. Nope. I'm not processing that sentence. Try again, I said. He didn't. Of course he didn't. Instead, he did something worse. He kissed me. No warning. No, I will now initiate physical contact. No countdown. Just there. Close. Warm. Certain. Like he had already decided this made sense. And I did not have the mental capacity to object, or think, or function. When he pulled back, I blinked. Once, twice, 3 times for system reboot. That was unannounced, I said. I did not detect resistance. I was in shock. Noted. Do not note that. He didn't step back. Still close. Still looking at me like this was a perfectly reasonable sequence of events. I have reached a conclusion, he said. Oh good, I haven't, I muttered. My prior objective regarding Lithera was incorrect. Yeah, we established that. I believed I was attempting to restore the relationship. You weren't. I was attempting to correct a failure. I exhaled. Yeah. My emotional attachment had already diminished. Pause. Then, due to your presence. I froze again, because apparently once wasn't enough. Excuse me. I adapted to your communication, your behavior, your responses. That's called interacting with a person. It resulted in preference. I stared at him. You developed a preference. Yes. For me. Yes. I dragged a hand down my face. This is not how I expected my day to go. It aligns with available data. Stop saying data. Silence. Then, I required confirmation, he said. By going on a date with your ex. Yes. That is the worst testing method I have ever heard. It was effective. Unfortunately. He stepped even closer, which should not be physically possible, but apparently was. I have confirmed the outcome, he said. And what's the outcome? I asked. Quietly, carefully, like I wasn't about to ruin my own life. You. I closed my eyes. I need you to elaborate. I do not experience the same clarity with Lithera. I do not respond to him as I do to you. I do not require adjustment with you. I am more stable in your presence. That is concerning. It is preferable. That is more concerning. He didn't stop. Of course he didn't. Because Valix, once he reaches a conclusion, treats it like a final mission objective. I wish to pursue this, he said. I opened my eyes. Pursue what? This, he said, gesturing between us. This is not a defined thing. It can be. How? By initiating a relationship. I stared at him. Are you asking me out? Yes. Just like that. No hesitation. No overthinking. Just, yes. Fine, we can try. His expression didn't change much. But I could tell. He registered it. Stored it. Probably categorized it under successful outcomes. I will proceed accordingly, he said. Please don't say it like that. I will attempt not to. That's the best I'm getting, isn't it? Yes. I turned away slightly, hands in my pockets, heart doing something deeply unprofessional. I can't believe this is happening, I muttered. It is consistent with recent developments. I hate that you're right. I am frequently correct. I know. And just like that, I went from romance consultant to actively involved in the problem, which honestly felt about right. Chapter 10. Final choice. I would like to say things settled down after that. They did not. Not immediately. Not gracefully. Not in any way that could be described as normal human romantic progression. Because apparently, dating an alien war captain who treats emotions like mission objectives comes with complications. As an example, let's take Attempt 2. Shared meal, which sounds normal, until you realize alien food looks like it's actively judging you. You are not consuming the meal, Valix observed. I am evaluating my life choices, I replied. It is nutritionally optimal. It is glowing. That indicates freshness. That indicates danger. He watched me for a second, then, quietly, pushed his own plate slightly toward me. This is less reactive, he said. I blinked. You're giving me your food. Yes. Why? You expressed distress. Oh no, that was not supposed to be soft. I looked away. Immediately. Don't do that, I muttered. Do what? That thing where you're considerate. It is part of the process. It's working, I said, too quickly. He nodded. I will continue. That is not reassuring. Somewhere between awkward walks and suspicious meals, something shifted. Not dramatically, not all at once, just quietly. He started listening more, not because he was trying to learn, but because he wanted to. I started talking more, not because I had to, but because he was actually hearing me. And the weirdest part? We stopped trying so hard. You are less directive, Valix said one day. I'm tired, I replied. You are more natural. I don't know if that's a compliment. It is preferable. I glanced at him. You're getting better at this. I am adapting. No, I said. I shook my head. That's not what this is. Pause. He looked at me, waiting. And for once, I didn't overthink it. You're just being. Silence. Then, that is inefficient, he said. I smiled. Yeah, I said. It is. And somehow, that was the moment it clicked. Not the big confession. Not the kiss. Not the chaos. Just this, standing there, talking, existing, without forcing it. I have another clarification, Valix said. I groaned. Of course you do. Do not react negatively. I am already reacting. When humans say they are in love, what does that indicate? I froze. Oh no, we're here. We have arrived. This is the end. I turned to him, slowly, carefully. Why are you asking? Because I require confirmation. That's not how that works. It is how I am approaching it. I sighed. Okay, what's the data? I said. He didn't answer immediately, which was new. Then, I prioritize your presence, he said. I experience clarity when interacting with you. There it was again. That line. That feeling. I prefer outcomes that include you. Pause. Then, I am reluctant to be without you. I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't interrupt. Because for once, he wasn't reciting something. He was just saying it. I believe this aligns with your definition, he added. Silence. Then, yeah, I said quietly. It does. He studied my expression. You are not rejecting this. I'm processing, I said. Clarify. I'm not running away, I replied. That is a positive indicator. It's a huge one. I looked at him, really looked, and there it was. Not confusion, not calculation, just certainty, and something softer, something steady, something real. You know what's funny? I said. What? I spent this entire time teaching you how to understand feelings. Yes, and you figured it out before I did. That is inefficient, he said. I laughed. Yeah, I said. It is. He stepped closer, not abruptly, not like before, just naturally, like this was where he was supposed to be. This is acceptable? He asked. I rolled my eyes. You're terrible at this. I am improving. You are. This is more than acceptable. He nodded. Processing. Of course. Always processing. Then, I will maintain this. Please don't say it like a mission. I will continue this. Better. 88888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888888 without analyzing. And for once, he didn't adjust, didn't question it, just stayed. Somewhere behind us, I heard Sirix's voice. Observation. Long-term bonding established. Zor added. Outcome. Successful. I didn't even turn around. Do not document this, I said. It is already documented, Sirix replied. Of course it is. Valix glanced down at me. This is what you call a relationship? Yeah, I said. Looks like it. Pause. Then, we're really doing this? Yes, I exhaled. Half laugh, half disbelief. I hate how this turned out. I do not. I know, I said. That's the problem. But I didn't move, didn't pull away, didn't run. Because for once, I didn't want to. And that was new. That was terrifying. And somehow, exactly right.